canals designer Hugh Baird in the 1820s. Despite the canal from Falkirk to Edinburgh being over 50 kilometres long, there is a fault of just 2.5 centimetres between either end, all designed at a computer. It's important to remember that we're on part of a canal network that stretches right across Scotland. And in recent years it's been growing in popularity, thanks in part to projects like the Falkirk Wheel. But there's also been a rise in the appetite from the public for enjoying our historic waterways. There are 22 million visits a year to our canals, with people enjoying the towpaths, walkers, joggers and cyclists alike. On the water, people enjoy canoeing and kayaking, and canal boat holidays are increasingly popular.
Welcome on board.
It can be great fun to charter a boat and explore the canal. Navigating up and down the locks is a little tricky at first, though you'll soon get the hang of it. But a canal boat holiday can also be very relaxing. The gentle pace of the boats means you can switch off from the pressures of modern life and slow right down. The body that cares for these waterways is called Scottish Canals, an agency of the Scottish Government. Any profit we make from activities on the canals, we put right back into caring for the system. It's our aim to make sure the canals are still here and being enjoyed by people in another 200 years. The tunnel in front of you now, you'll remember it runs under the Antonite Wall, is another part of what makes this place special. It might look just like any other tunnel, but it had to be excavated with utmost care so as not to disturb the archaeological remains above. And it has a concrete base so as not to damage the old mine workings beneath. It's precision engineering. But the real precision work is on the Falkirk Wheel itself, a feat of engineering and architectural design. It was the first rotating boatman to be built in the world, bringing the story of Scottish invention, adventure and world first right up to date. The sense of ambition and pride felt by the design team matches that of those engineers and canal builders a few centuries ago. While many see the wheel as a beautiful thing, it's often questioned whether its merits are as a piece of art or as a piece of engineering. Tony Kittle, designer of the Falkirk Wheel, perhaps puts it best.
We came up with a practical, physical solution to the problem of how to link the two canals together. But we were driven by both the practical and the aesthetic. We wanted to create something sculptural that would give a sense of movement and rotation. Our wheel has some of the enduring qualities of a timepiece: precision engineering and intrinsic beauty, metal curves and movement in one composition.
You might have wondered why we went to the trouble of creating the Falkirk Wheel. You'll remember that the two canals had fallen into a state of disrepair in the late 20th century, and they weren't used for transporting goods or people anymore. It might have been easier just to fill the canals in and forget about them altogether. But then, in the late 1990s, it was realised that the redevelopment of these waterways could create what became known as a corridor of opportunity right across the central belt of Scotland. And there were plenty of enthusiastic volunteers too, who wanted to see their local canal brought back to life, rather than sitting there abandoned. The Millennium Link project saw these canals repaired and reopened, and at £84 million was Britain's most ambitious canal restoration project ever. In just 3 years, waterways were dredged, including removing 300,000 tonnes of silt, locks were replaced, 9 new locks built, and towpaths restored. There were also 35 new bridges and 5 kilometres of the new canal. And it's been a huge success. Canal side investment has gone through the roof, over £400 million in the first decade alone, including 2,000 new waterside homes and 100,000 square metres of retail and commercial development. And very importantly for this region, 4,000 new jobs, all from a couple of canals. It's amazing to think what that kind of investment can do. But it wasn't possible to reopen the locks joining these two canals. They were filled in and now have blocks of flats built on them. So a new solution was needed, hence the Falkirk Wheel. Not only does it link the two waterways, but it gives us a chance to celebrate Scottish design and ingenuity once again. Okay, as we're coming towards the end of our time on this level, I just have time to share some of the facts and figures of the Falkirk Wheel. It was opened in May 2002 by Her Majesty the Queen, although she never actually rode it like you have today. There are 15,000 bolts in the structure, pressed into 45,000 bolt holes, and each one was tightened by hand. The two gondolas between them hold 1 million litres of water and can lift the weight of 100 elephants. And it does all that in just 5 minutes, using the power of a few electric kettles. Amazing, isn't it? If you were thinking of getting one for yourself, do be aware that the price tag comes at a whopping £20 million. We're heading back into the gondola now, so that we can rotate back down to the lower level, 25 metres below. This is a great place to take in the view if the Scottish weather has been kind to us today. You should be able to make out the Kelpies, Grangemouth and the cranes at the front of Forth, along with the Ochil Hills and various other ranges. Your skipper might point some of these out to you as you descend. As we come to the end of this boat tour, it's impressive to think that the Falkirk Wheel wasn't actually built as a tourist attraction. There was no visitor centre here originally, and boat trips like these didn't take place. But people came to visit the wheel out of their own curiosity. They came from all over the world to wonder at this architectural and engineering gem. So we started running boat trips, and the Falkirk Wheel has gone from strength to strength. And now you visited too, and ridden this unique part of the Scottish landscape. Perhaps we should leave the last word for the time being to the wheel's designer, Tony Kettle.
The Falkirk Wheel appears to lift its head and take